You didn't arrive here by accident. Something subtle, perhaps long forgotten, guided you to this moment, a quiet impulse beneath thought, a frequency of readiness humming just beneath awareness. You might call it coincidence. You might call it curiosity. But if you listen closely, you'll sense it's something more deliberate, a convergence of intention and field, science and soul, consciousness folding back upon itself. You've felt glimpses of this before in stillness, in awe, in that split second before sleep when the mind dissolves into vastness. The neuroscientists call it a shift in network dominance the analytical brain yields, and a larger intelligence begins to breathe through you. Yet the mystics describe it differently. They say the self thins, the veil trembles, and you touch the eternal current moving beneath appearances. Two languages for one truth. The loop that traps most people isn't physical, it's neurological. The brain keeps replaying its old codes, thought patterns trained by fear, identity, and memory. You mistake these echoes for who you are, but awareness, pure and unbound, exists beneath the chatter. When you rest there, neurons begin to reorganize, coherence blooms, and the body becomes a listening instrument tuned to something vast and invisible. Imagine this. Your thoughts are not instructions to the universe, they are coordinates. Each emotion, each image, marks a point in possibility space. The moment you stop grasping, your nervous system relaxes, your frequencies synchronize, and suddenly you're standing at the threshold of two realities, the known and the unmanifest. Between them is a silence so full it hums, and in that hum, creation waits. Right now, as you breathe, that field is listening not to your words, but to your coherence. The invitation is simple yet infinite: surrender the habit of control and let awareness become the bridge between science and spirit. This moment is the threshold. Step through it. The hum you felt at the threshold doesn't vanish when you cross. It deepens, spreading through the body like a subtle current, quiet, steady, alive. Neuroscience would tell you that in this moment, your default mode network begins to dim. The parts of the brain that spin stories about the self start to loosen their grip, making room for something more fundamental to emerge: stillness as signal, consciousness in its raw, electrical form. In labs across the world, electrodes trace this transformation. The rhythm of the brain slows from the jagged edges of beta into the smooth waves of alpha, and sometimes even deeper theta, the frequency of dream and memory integration. You could say the brain begins to whisper instead of shout. Patterns of firing that once symbolized control now dissolve into coherence. Regions that used to compete begin to synchronize like instruments tuning to the same key. But here's the wonder, the same state that science calls neural coherence. Mystics have recognized for millennia as presence. When your brain waves align, your sense of separation fades. You are no longer an isolated signal, but part of a vast broadcast already in motion. The breath becomes the translator between these languages, the physiological and the metaphysical, the neuron and the cosmos. Consider what happens when you take a slow breath in. The vagus nerve, winding from brainstem to gut, sends messages of calm through your organs. Cortisol drops, heart rate steadies. The entire body begins to operate under the governance of parasympathetic flow. What does this mean beyond biology? It means that the body, once governed by survival, now becomes a vessel for creation. The circuitry that once sought safety now opens to possibility. And as you exhale, a kind of inner gravity shifts. The neural chatter fades into the background, and the subtle field of awareness comes forward. You begin to perceive not through effort, but through resonance. Every inhale writes a new code. Every exhale releases the old one. This is not imagination, it's neuroplasticity in action. The brain reshapes itself in response to attention, carving pathways that favor peace over panic, coherence over chaos. Stillness is not emptiness. It's intelligence reorganizing. In this silence, you may start to sense patterns, rising soft pulses, lights behind the eyes, an internal rhythm guiding you deeper. These are not hallucinations. They are the nervous system recalibrating its communication with the field of perception. Some call it theta synchronization. Others might call it grace. But either way, something measurable and mystical is happening, consciousness stabilizing itself within you. Notice how the mind wants to analyze, to categorize this process, to turn wonder into data. That's natural. But what if you let the analysis rest? Even for a breath, you'll discover that the real science of stillness isn't about collecting evidence. It's about witnessing transformation. Observation changes what is observed. That's not poetry. It's physics. The act of awareness reshapes neural probability itself. So when you close your eyes and breathe, you're not escaping the world. You're accessing the interface where biology meets infinity. The neurons become translators for the unspoken. The frequencies you enter are not mystical accidents, but predictable harmonics of a system designed for expansion. You are literally tuning your brain to perceive beyond itself. And the deeper you go, the more you realize stillness isn't passive, it's generative. It builds new circuits for creativity, empathy, intuition, the very qualities that bridge the human and the divine. Each moment of stillness is a vote for coherence in the collective network of consciousness. So, as you rest in this science of stillness, remember you're not trying to silence your mind. You're inviting your neurons to remember their original rhythm, the one that existed before thought, before time, before separation, the rhythm that hums quietly at the foundation of everything. From here, the illusion of isolation begins to unravel. That unraveling you just felt, the thinning of the edges between you and everything else, is where the next revelation begins. Stillness, it seems, doesn't just calm the mind, it rearranges perception itself. Neuroscience teaches that what we call reality is not seen directly, but constructed. Your brain receives photons, vibrations, and chemical signals, then translates them into a seamless narrative. The world you perceive, colors, sounds, textures, people, is a living hallucination, one that happens to be shared because our brains evolved under similar laws of prediction. But prediction is not truth. It's consensus. The illusion of separation arises because the brain keeps drawing boundaries where none actually exist. When you meditate, you interrupt that habitual mapping. The neural filters relax. The prefrontal cortex, once obsessed with control, softens its command. Sensory data becomes fluid. The rigid distinction between observer and observed begins to shimmer, almost like heat rising from asphalt. You start to feel the space between atoms as alive, communicative, responsive. Science might call this enhanced sensory integration. The mystic would simply smile and say, "You remembered the real world." Every signal your brain processes, sight, sound, touch, is filtered through expectation. This is what neuroscientists describe as the predictive model of consciousness. Your mind guesses what will happen next, then corrects itself using sensory input. But what happens when you suspend the guessing? When you enter meditation deeply enough, the prediction machinery quiets down. The brain stops insisting on the familiar. In that openness, something remarkable occurs. You begin to perceive reality not as fixed matter, but as a fluid field of possibility. Think of it this way. Between each thought, there is a pause. Between each heartbeat, a gap. These spaces are not empty, they are full of potential. The same way quantum physicists describe the vacuum not as void, but as a storm of latent energy. The illusion of separation fades when you learn to inhabit that gap, not as an observer, but as the field itself. And this isn't just philosophy. Studies using fMRI have shown that when people meditate on compassion or unity, the neural boundaries between self and other, particularly in the parietal lobe, begin to dissolve. It's as if the brain's map of me expands to include everything it perceives. You could say that empathy is the biological signature of oneness. You could also say that love is the most precise form of perception. So when you close your eyes and feel your breath merge with the room, it's not imagination. It's a neurological recognition of what's always been true. There was never a line between your breath and the air, between your thoughts and the space that holds them. Separation was only a habit of attention. And here's the quiet irony: the brain, this miraculous engine of division, also holds the code for reunion. The same neuroplasticity that allows you to build walls can just as easily dissolve them. The illusion persists only as long as you feed it with belief. The moment you see through it, neurons rewire, perception reorders, and you begin to sense what the quantum theorists have been whispering for decades. The observer is not separate from what is observed. The act of attention itself creates the bridge. So breathe, feel that bridge stabilize. The space around you isn't empty. It's aware. The particles composing your body are entangled with stars, with soil, with memory. You've never been disconnected, only unaware of the connection. And as that realization anchors deeper, another truth begins to shimmer at the edge of awareness. If separation is illusion, then potential is proximity. Everything you've ever desired may not be distant after all. It may be waiting in the field that begins precisely where the boundary of you ends. From here, the doorway to that field of potential begins to open. That doorway you now see, it isn't somewhere else. It's an aperture within awareness itself, a shift in the texture of attention. You don't step through it so much as you dissolve into it, like mist recognizing the ocean it came from. You may notice a soft expansion in your chest, a lightness behind your eyes. That's not imagination, it's neuroelectric coherence aligning with emotional resonance. The heart's electromagnetic field begins to synchronize with the brain's rhythms. Science calls this heart-brain coupling. Mystics call it attunement. In that alignment, the borders of the self begin to blur, and what you once thought of as the world starts to feel like an extension of your nervous system. Here, inside this subtle coherence, potential lives, not in the future, not somewhere far off, but as a spectrum of probability vibrating in real time. The quantum field, as physicists describe it, isn't a distant cosmos of abstractions. It's the informational substrate beneath every perception, a sea of tendencies awaiting observation to crystallize into experience. Neuroscience echoes this idea. The brain doesn't just record reality, it generates predictive models that can collapse into new possibilities the moment belief and attention converge. When you visualize something with emotional conviction, you're not merely daydreaming, you're reorganizing probability space. The neural representation of that desired reality fires and wires in patterns so vivid that, to the brain, it's already happening. Regions in the prefrontal cortex light up the same way they would if the experience were tangible. The more coherent the emotion, the stronger the imprint. The stronger the imprint, the more easily perception filters reality through that new lens. This is not fantasy. It's a feedback loop between biology and possibility. Emotion acts as the carrier wave. Attention directs it. Together, they shape what version of reality your nervous system will tune into next. The field of potential is always broadcasting. It's your state of coherence that determines which frequency becomes audible. So when you feel that sudden sense of alignment, a tingling in the palms, a warmth across your face, it's not mystical vapor. It's the bioelectrical resonance of coherence itself. The nervous system translating potential into physiology. Your body becomes the antenna through which the unseen becomes seen. But here's the paradox: you can't force this tuning. Effort introduces noise. Control fragments coherence. The field responds to congruence, not command. That's why meditation begins in surrender. The moment you stop chasing, the moment you relax the grip of how, the nervous system expands its perceptual bandwidth, allowing the improbable to become accessible. You become porous, permeable, receptive. From that state, the boundary between visualization and manifestation collapses. You start to feel the reality of your vision as something already here, pulsing faintly beneath the surface of time. Each emotion of gratitude, each breath of trust, is like a calibration fine-tuning the signal between what's imagined and what's embodied. And this is where science and spirit bow to the same law systems. Incoherence amplify energy. The coherent heart amplifies the coherent mind, and together they create interference patterns that alter perception, probability, and performance. The ancients might have called it magic. Today, we could simply call it resonance. So, as you breathe now, feel yourself entering that resonance not as an escape from the world, but as a reintroduction to its hidden architecture. The field of potential doesn't demand belief, it responds to participation. You don't need to reach for it. You're already inside it, influencing it with every coherent thought and every surrendered breath. And in that awareness, another realization begins to unfold. Effortless creation is not about reaching out to grasp potential, it's about opening wide enough to let potential move through you. From this surrender, the art of non-resistance begins. You've felt that opening, the sweet release where striving melts into stillness. That's the frontier of non-resistance. And it's not just poetic, it's physiological. When you stop forcing outcomes, something remarkable happens within the body. The chemistry of control gives way to the biology of flow. The nervous system, always listening, recalibrates itself. The stress hormones that tighten your focus and narrow your perception begin to dissolve. Cortisol fades, adrenaline quiets. The amygdala, that small sentinel of fear, stops firing so loudly. In its place, the parasympathetic system awakens a network of neurons built not for battle, but for restoration. It's the body's rest and create mode, a neurochemical sanctuary that allows possibility to organize without interference. Imagine your body as an ocean, its surface once storm-tossed with thought. As the winds of worry calm, the waves settle, revealing the mirrored depth beneath. That reflective surface isn't passivity, it's precision. In still water, you can finally see the stars. In the still mind, you can finally perceive the signal of the field. Science tells us that during states of non-resistance, coherence between the heart and brain peaks. The vagus nerve acts like a luminous thread, carrying messages of calm through the body. Breathing deepens. The heart's rhythm becomes harmonious, and this harmony extends outward as an electromagnetic signature measurable several feet beyond the skin. You're not just at peace, you're broadcasting coherence. The body, freed from defensive contraction, becomes a resonant field capable of entraining others. Non-resistance, then, isn't giving up. It's tuning in. It's the nervous system aligning with what physicists might call the path of least energy expenditure, the same law that governs the orbit of planets and the flow of rivers. The brain, always economical, begins to favor patterns that sustain harmony rather than tension. Creativity rises, immune function strengthens, decision-making becomes intuitive. There's an elegance to this when you stop fighting the current. You realize the current was never against you. Resistance was simply the friction of misunderstanding. In meditation, this moment feels like melting time slows, body softens, and awareness widens to include everything. The me that once grasped for control dissolves into the we of the wider field. But let's look closer, through the lens of biology. When you release resistance, the anterior cingulate cortex responsible for monitoring conflict reduces its activity. The brain no longer flags every uncertainty as a threat. Instead, new pathways form, guided by curiosity rather than fear. Dopamine, the neurochemical of motivation, begins to flow not from craving, but from discovery. You stop chasing reward and start experiencing wonder. And this, perhaps, is the hidden gift of non-resistance. It redefines power, not as domination, but as receptivity, not as control, but as coherence. The deeper you surrender, the more responsive the field becomes. Your physiology becomes the medium through which intelligence beyond thought can move. You don't direct the current, you become it. There's a paradox here worth savoring. The moment you stop grasping for what you want, your system enters the precise state that makes receiving possible. The neurons that once encoded stress now vibrate in patterns of openness. The magnetic field of the heart expands. The body becomes a bridge between worlds, the measurable and the mysterious. So the next time you feel the urge to push, to demand, to wrestle with reality, remember this: the quantum field doesn't yield to control. It harmonizes with surrender. Non-resistance is not weakness. It's biological intelligence returning to its original state of flow. And from that flow arises the next great movement, the language of emotion itself, the compass that tells consciousness where to go next. From that flow of surrender, emotion begins to move not as reaction, but as navigation. You may notice how a single feeling can shift your entire perception, how gratitude softens edges that fear once sharpened. Emotion in this light is not weakness, it's guidance. It's the language through which the body speaks to the field, signaling which version of reality you're resonating with. Neuroscience calls this emotional homeostasis, the balance of chemicals dopamine, serotonin, oxytocin that calibrate your internal climate. But beneath the data lies something more poetic. Each emotion generates a unique physiological signature: heart rhythm, hormone cascade, electrical frequency. These patterns don't stay confined within the body. They radiate outward, forming what researchers term a biofield, a measurable electromagnetic aura. The ancient mystics knew this long before instruments could detect it. They simply called it presence. When you feel joy, coherence expands. When you feel gratitude, your brain's reward centers ignite, releasing dopamine and endorphins that reinforce perception of possibility. It's not that gratitude magically attracts outcomes, it reorganizes your biology to perceive and respond to them. Your attention sharpens toward opportunity. Your nervous system, relaxed yet alert, becomes a receiver for synchronicity. Emotion, then, is the compass directing your quantum alignment. It's how the body decides which probability to inhabit. Negative emotion is not a failure, it's feedback. It's the nervous system whispering, you're out of tune with your chosen frequency. Positive emotion, by contrast, signals resonance, gratitude, love, curiosity. These are not sentimental indulgences, they are calibration tools. Consider what happens when you consciously generate gratitude. The heart rate variability, an indicator of coherence, becomes harmonized. The brain and heart fall into rhythmic entrainment, producing what scientists call physiological resonance. This state doesn't just feel good, it optimizes communication between body systems. You think clearer, heal faster, connect deeper. In the language of the field, coherence equals clarity, and clarity invites creation. Emotion is also memory's sculptor. When you pair visualization with elevated emotion, the hippocampus encodes it as real experience. The subconscious doesn't distinguish between imagined joy and lived joy. It records the chemistry, not the circumstance. So when you imagine a fulfilled future and feel it deeply, you are literally teaching your body to expect it. Neural networks fire in anticipation, hormones release as confirmation, and reality begins to reorganize around that expectation. But there's a delicate balance here. Forced positivity fractures coherence. True gratitude can't be performed. It must be embodied. It arises naturally when resistance drops and perception widens. When you stop demanding that life meet your conditions, you begin to see that it already has. Gratitude then becomes the emotional frequency of recognition, not acquisition. You can test this in any moment. Close your eyes and think of something you love, a memory, a scent, a voice. Feel how your chest subtly expands, how the breath deepens without effort. That expansion is your compass aligning. Every time you choose gratitude, you're steering consciousness toward coherence. Every time you choose fear, you're signaling contraction. The field mirrors whichever you sustain. So, in this practice, emotion becomes architecture. It builds the bridge between neural pattern and quantum potential. You don't need to think your way into a new life, you need to feel your way there. Thought provides the map. Emotion embeds the movement. Together they form the coordinates of manifestation. And as you learn to navigate by emotion rather than control, you begin to sense another dimension unfolding within you, a space not of reaction, but of creation. It's the realm where imagination and biology merge, where vision becomes vibration. That space is the fourth dimension within. That inner realm you just entered, the one shaped not by thought, but by felt knowing, is where imagination becomes infrastructure. You could call it the fourth dimension, not as a place beyond space and time, but as the invisible architecture through which both arise. When you dwell there, you're not escaping reality. You're reconfiguring its blueprint. Neuroscience offers a quiet confirmation of this. When you imagine an experience with sensory richness, the brain's visual cortex activates almost identically to when you actually live it. The body can't tell the difference between what it perceives and what it vividly envisions. The same neurochemistry floods, the same circuits fire. So every time you enter deep imagination, you are rehearsing the future, installing a neurological possibility that the body will later interpret as familiarity. This is why imagination isn't fantasy. It's rehearsal for reality. The fourth dimension is the neural and energetic bridge where potential gestates. You could say it's the cosmic design studio, or more scientifically, the domain of predictive coding, the brain's constant simulation of what's to come. In meditation, when you quiet the analytical mind, those simulations become pliable. You stop projecting the past and start programming possibility. Think of this dimension as a canvas of subtle frequencies. Each emotion is a color, each belief a brushstroke. You stand before this inner canvas every moment, painting the outline of your next experience. The field responds not to wishful words, but to coherence, the alignment between imagined emotion and embodied trust. When all three converge, the fourth dimension begins to ripple. You sense time bending, coincidences clustering, doors opening in sequence. What looks like luck is actually resonance made visible. And yet, here lies the paradox. To access this dimension, you must loosen your grip on outcome. The tighter you hold an image, the more it fractures into resistance. The moment you surrender expectation, the field begins to draw itself around your intention. It's as if the unseen intelligence recognizes coherence as permission. Mystics often describe this place as the imaginal realm, a domain where thought and form intermingle. You might experience it as a vivid daydream, or as an intuitive download, or as the sudden clarity that descends like sunlight through clouds. Whatever its expression, the underlying mechanism is the same: the brain harmonizing with the informational field that precedes physical expression. You are not conjuring fantasy, you're aligning perception with probability. And the emotional compass from before, it becomes your navigation system here. Gratitude keeps you buoyant, curiosity guides exploration, love stabilizes the field. When emotion and imagination intertwine, the nervous system enters what researchers call gamma synchronization, a rapid, high-frequency state associated with insight and integration. It's the mind becoming multi-dimensional, perceiving patterns too complex for linear logic. This state isn't reserved for mystics or geniuses. It's biological potential available to anyone willing to enter stillness. Feel deeply and imagine boldly. Every human brain holds the circuitry for the fourth dimension. It's the mode we were designed to access before survival hijacked perception. You reclaim it not through striving, but through coherence. So as you sit with eyes closed, seeing the invisible, know that your imagination is not make-believe, it's make-real. Each breath, each image, each pulse of gratitude sculpts the unseen architecture that will soon harden into matter. And as this realization anchors, another layer of truth emerges. If imagination builds the lattice of your reality, then belief decides its boundaries. The next evolution, therefore, begins with the architecture of belief itself. Belief is the skeleton beneath imagination, the unseen structure that determines what form your reality is allowed to take. You can visualize endlessly, feel deeply, surrender beautifully, but if your beliefs contradict your vision, the energy collapses before it can crystallize. The architecture doesn't hold. In neuroscience, beliefs aren't abstract, they're neural shortcuts. Every conviction, every truth you cling to is a network of connections wired by repetition and reinforced by emotion. The brain saves energy by assuming yesterday's map still applies today. It projects familiarity even onto the unknown. This is efficient, but it's also confining. The map becomes a cage, and the world you perceive bends obediently to the limits of your assumptions. Meditation interrupts this automation. In the stillness of altered brainwave states, particularly theta and gamma, neural circuits soften. The rigid scaffolding of old patterns becomes plastic again, allowing new architecture to emerge. That's neuroplasticity, belief ungluing itself from habit. The stories you've inherited from fear or failure begin to dissolve. Space opens for possibility to reoccupy the mind. But belief isn't only a mental concept, it's embodied. Every thought has a hormonal echo. If you believe the world is unsafe, your adrenals respond as if danger lurks in every silence. If you believe you are worthy, your biochemistry confirms it, flooding your body with serotonin, oxytocin, dopamine, a chemical chorus of coherence. You don't just think belief, you secrete it. You live inside its frequency. Here's the beauty: when awareness becomes strong enough, belief stops being a cage and becomes clay. You start to sculpt rather than react. You choose beliefs that amplify possibility, not constrict it. This is what the mystics meant by renewing the mind, and what neuroscience calls cognitive reappraisal, the deliberate rewiring of interpretation. You no longer ask, is this true, but does this belief expand or contract me? And as those expansions accumulate, your inner architecture changes shape. You feel it in posture, in breath, in tone. The body stands differently when the mind believes differently. The nervous system calibrates to the story you tell it. Even your electromagnetic field, the measurable aura surrounding your body, shifts in amplitude and coherence. The physics follows the faith. But the paradox remains: you can't overwrite belief by force. The conscious mind can declare new affirmations all day, But the subconscious, the deep builder of your inner temple, responds only to feeling. To truly reshape the structure, you must embody the new belief emotionally. Feel it first, think it second. The body believes before the intellect consents. Try this. Imagine a belief that empowers you, something simple, like I am safe, or life responds to me with kindness. Don't argue it into existence. Breathe it into existence. Let your cells taste it. Feel how your heartbeat changes as you inhabit it. That shift, that momentary quiet of the old tension, is the blueprint reconfiguring itself. That's the architecture being rewritten. Each repetition, each emotional rehearsal, stabilizes the new pattern. What begins as fragile becomes structural. The subconscious, once trained to expect lack or struggle, learns to expect flow, and because the brain predicts from belief, it starts filtering reality to confirm your new assumption. Suddenly, evidence of support appears everywhere. Coincidence becomes choreography. This is not magic, it's mechanics. The observer, once trapped in conditioned perception, becomes the designer. You start to notice that the line between inner and outer was never real. Belief was the bridge all along. And from that bridge, embodiment becomes inevitable. The architecture, once internal, begins to express itself through movement, speech, action, through the living frequency of who you've become. From belief, embodiment is born. That new belief you've sculpted, it's not complete until you wear it. Thought alone is a seed. Embodiment is the soil. The field doesn't respond to what you hope for. It responds to what you stabilize through your nervous system. Every posture, every breath, every micro-expression transmits data into the field. You are broadcasting continuously, even in silence. Think of your body as an instrument that tunes reality. The way you hold your shoulders, the rhythm of your breath, the steadiness of your gaze, these are frequencies translated into form. Neuroscience calls this embodied cognition, the principle that your physiology doesn't just express the mind, it creates it. Stand in coherence long enough, and thought begins to obey posture. Breath is the bridge between the conscious and the subconscious, between belief and biology. When you inhale deeply and release slowly, the vagus nerve signals the brain that it is safe. Safety opens perception. Perception amplifies possibility. Each breath, then, is not merely oxygen, it's instruction. It tells the body what reality to expect. Breathe like the person who already lives your vision, and your biochemistry will adjust accordingly. There's a rhythm to this embodiment, a choreography between energy and form. Movement anchors memory. When you walk with awareness, when you speak from alignment, you're imprinting the neural network with evidence of your new frequency. The body learns faster than the mind. Every gesture becomes a declaration to the field. This is who I am now. And the field listens. Experiments in physiology show that emotions of coherence, love, gratitude, compassion create measurable waves extending outward. Your presence affects the heart rate of those nearby, their brainwave patterns, even their immune response. You are not an isolated signal. You're a node in a vast network of resonance. When you embody coherence, you stabilize it for others. But embodiment is not perfection. It's repetition. It's returning again and again to the posture of truth when old patterns try to reclaim you. The nervous system loves the familiar, even if the familiar hurts. So each time you slip into contraction, fear, doubt, resistance, your task is not to fight it, but to breathe through it, to remind the body of safety until it remembers. That's how the signal matures. Imagine yourself as a tuning fork. When struck by challenge, don't shatter, resonate. Let the vibration pass through you until only your true frequency remains. This is the alchemy of embodiment, transmuting reaction into resonance. You no longer chase alignment. You become it. The field responds not to effort, but to coherence sustained through motion. And here's where biology and mysticism merge once more. Every time you act from coherence, mirror neurons in others activate. They begin to align subconsciously with your frequency. What you embody teaches silently. The universe communicates through resonance more than language. When you embody peace, you broadcast possibility. In this way, embodiment becomes a feedback loop. The more you live as the signal, the more the signal amplifies you. Reality starts to echo back the vibration you hold, not because of wishful thinking, but because coherence is contagious. You shift probability by maintaining presence. So as you breathe now, feel that subtle current moving through your body, steady, rhythmic, intelligent. It's the same current that moves galaxies, the same pulse that guided you here. Every motion, every heartbeat, is the universe experiencing itself as you. And when that recognition fully lands, when you realize that the field and the self are the same signal expressed at different scales, you begin to live not as someone accessing the field, but as the field itself made flesh. That is where this journey leads to living as the field. You can feel it now, the hum that once surrounded you is coming from within. What was once the field is no longer something you access, it's what you are. Every heartbeat carries the same rhythm as the cosmos. Every breath a microcosm of creation's pulse. You are not standing in the field, you're articulating it through motion, thought, and awareness. To live as the field is to embody the union of science and spirit, not as concept, but as continuity. The neuroscientist sees synapses, the mystic sees starlight, but they are describing the same current. The electric pulse that sparks between neurons is not separate from the pulse that moves between galaxies. The same equations that describe wave interference describe intuition, resonance, empathy. Reality has always been a conversation between frequencies, and now you recognize yourself as one of its voices. In this recognition, choice transforms. It's no longer about control, it's about coherence. Each decision becomes a tuning act, an alignment of intention with vibration. You don't chase the future, you attune to it. You listen for the signal of what already exists and bring your biology into harmony with its tone. The field doesn't respond to your demands, it synchronizes with your state. This is where effort dissolves into artistry. Living as the field means understanding that consciousness is sculpting itself through you, continuously. Every thought is a brushstroke on the canvas of probability. Every word is a waveform collapsing into matter. You are both the painter and the pigment, both the prayer and its fulfillment. There is no outside force to appease, no distant intelligence to summon, only the self, remembering its own infinite capacity. But this awareness carries responsibility. When you understand that your coherence influences the whole, every emotion becomes an act of creation. The compassion you extend ripples through neural networks you will never see. The peace you hold in one breath calms storms in another mind. The field is collective. Your vibration participates in the evolution of consciousness itself. Science is beginning to glimpse this truth. Studies on collective meditation show measurable drops in violence and increases in social coherence. Random number generators deviate from chance during moments of global unity. The data is imperfect, but the pattern is clear consciousness. When synchronized, bends probability. The observer effect doesn't stop at the particle, it extends into civilization. And so, to live as the field is to live deliberately, yet gently. To wake each morning not in search of miracles, but in awareness that every breath is one. To walk through the world as if your presence matters because it does. Every neuron firing in coherence is a prayer written in light. Every act of kindness, a ripple in the universal equation. you begin to see that spirituality was never separate from physics, and meditation was never escapism, it was calibration. You've learned that surrender is structure, that gratitude is gravity, that emotion is navigation. The field was never waiting to be accessed, it was waiting to be remembered. And as you carry this realization forward, a subtle smile might rise from somewhere ancient within you, because you finally understand you've never been manifesting reality, you've been remembering your role in its unfolding. From this awareness, the journey doesn't end, it evolves. And now we slow the pulse. The vibration that once swelled to a crescendo begins to settle, not into silence, but into presence. The current you've awakened doesn't fade, it integrates. The field becomes the background hum of your daily living, soft and steady, guiding each motion with invisible precision. You may notice how the simplest acts, pouring water, opening a door, greeting a stranger, carry a new texture, as if light lingers inside them. That's coherence manifesting in motion. What began as meditation has become embodiment, and what felt like revelation now unfolds as rhythm. You no longer need ceremony to access the infinite. Awareness itself has become the altar. Every breath remains a choice, every thought a tuning, and each moment you pause before reacting, before speaking, before believing you are shaping the fabric again, not through effort, but through alignment. This is the gentle mastery not to dominate reality, but to dance with it. Remember, living as the field doesn't make life weightless, it makes it sacred. Challenges still arise, but they no longer arrive as threats. They appear as invitations to deepen coherence. The body knows what to do. The mind, once frantic for answers, now listens for resonance instead of reason. So as you end this journey, don't strive to hold on to the feeling. Let it hold on to you. Carry it like a quiet frequency behind your heart, where awareness meets breath. Let it guide you through noise, through ordinary moments, through sleep and sunrise alike. The quantum field isn't elsewhere. It's the texture of this moment, waiting for you to notice it again and again. Pause, breathe, feel the pulse that connects galaxies to cells. That's you still here, still creating, still infinite.